How does that happen? It depends on you. Largely, it depends on you. Just like Dr. Tolu forwarded a video to me, and the guy said, some people have been waiting for recession for the past years. They wait for recession. But how do they win in recession? How do they win in recession? Because they prepare for recession. In the boom, they prepare for recession. And which is normal, which is the right thing to do, because the best time to prepare for war is in the period of peace. It is not when you are in war that you start trying to get your arms and ammunition, you start preparing your soldiers, you start employing soldiers. No, you are going to lose that war. The best way to win in a war is to anticipate the war even when there is peace, prepare for it as if there is a war already, even in the period of peace. So that when the war comes, you are already in a position to take advantage of the war. And that's the way people who win a recession prepare for recession. So during booms, what do? They try to save, they position themselves, they have alternative investment that make sure that even when in recession, one or two sources of income is attacked, they have other sources of income that will not be attacked, and they continue to generate funding. They bet against the odds. It's like buying a default swap, betting against the odds, that whatever the situation, whatever arises, they are still winners. So are we vulnerable? Yes. What should we expect? We should expect exchange rates to spike. It's already there. Just a few weeks ago, dollar is priced at 360. Today is priced at 380, 390. It's going to get worse. From my understanding, even though it is not there as a covenant in the money that World Bank is trying to give us, that there were covenants that were being discussed, and one of it is the devaluation of Naira. I heard, I have not confirmed, but I heard from someone who is not flippant. So I'm tending towards believing that. But either World Bank says it or not, based on what we are seeing, CBN cannot eat their cake and have it. They can't defend Naira for a long time with the current price of oil and the glut in the market. Something has to give. And once there is an exchange rate decrease, the cost of living is going to be high. Even though we've tried to do some form of backward, some form of depending on eating what we grow, we are still dependent on a whole lot of imported things. So it means that the cost of doing business for people who import those things is going to go up, and they have to pass it to the people that consume. Now, countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and a few other countries have seen rating agencies like Fitch, Standard & Poor's, and Moody downgraded their sovereign rating. And when you hear that Nigerian sovereign rating has been downgraded, don't move on as if it doesn't concern you. It concerns you because, one, no matter how good your company is in Nigeria, if your company is the best among the best in the world, the rating of your company cannot be better than that of the country where it operates. So, let me take a Nigerian company for instance. Let's say Dangote. It's a very good company, turning out profit for its shareholders. If Nigeria is a junk-rated country, Dangote cannot be better than a junk. And that's the way it works. I want another thing that is make it your business when there is a sovereign rating for your country is that people that gives loan, right? They price their loan based on the risk inherent in that country. And one of the standard ways of looking at the risk of your country is the sovereign rating of your country. Is that understood?
Yes.
Now, so when the ratings of your country is going down, it concerns you. It means that your country is going to be borrowing at a more expensive rate. So when you are BB, you were able to borrow at, let's say, 7%, at junk, investors may be saying that you are too risky. The only way I can give you money is to pay 12%. How is the country going to pay the 12%? It's from our taxes. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to have an increased revenue. So it means that instead of them to use 65 naira, they probably be using 75 naira to service debt. our banks are going to have their lines of credit withdrawn. And what does this portray for us? It means that people who wants to import raw material, companies in your country who wants to import your raw material may have challenges in doing that because the lines of credit may have been frozen and the banks may not have enough room to do the LCs they used to do before. It's already happening today. And it will lead to difficulty in getting raw materials for import. You have businesses that may close down because of issues. Can be low patronage or no patronage. So today I will give example of no patronage. What is happening to airlines? What is happening to airlines today? There is no patronage. For the next 2 years, there's going to be very low patronage. And you will see airlines all over the world closing down. We are going to have reducing profitability, leading to reduction in income, and we are going to have loss of jobs. Unfortunately, when cost of companies come under pressure, labor is always the first casualty. However, is it all gloom and doom? I don't think so. Just like I said, people prepare for recession. However, I expect, this is an opinion of many, and I said that there are still going to be opportunities in sectors like the fast-moving consumer goods, telecoms, a whole lot of opportunities in farming, healthcare, financing, logistics. Now, I didn't break down all this one to be explained. Is there any question on why I think any of these sectors are going to have opportunities in terms of recession? Is there any question on that so that we can take that one out before we go further?
Can I ask why you think FMCGs will have a leverage during recession?
Okay, yeah. So FMCG
and then another question on top of it. And what category of FMCG?
Oh, okay, good question. Now, I think FMCG, most especially when it comes to the food part of it, we have an advantage. However, the food part of it has to be the one that is affordable by many. Some FMCG, some even food companies will struggle. In period of low declining income, people downtrade. Downtrade means that, so I want to eat food, right? In the period of boom, I can afford some luxuries. In the period of in recession and my income is reducing, because automatically, even if your salary is not reduced, the fact that dollar has gone up means that your income has reduced. Do I need to continue with picnic? I'm not trying to demarket Friesland, right? I'm just using it as an example. Do I need to continue with picnic? If I cannot afford picnic, what are the options for me? But the reality is that are people still going to be drinking milk? Yes, people will still drink milk. What now happens is that what category of milk we did consume? So there's going to be a lot of down trading. So I did some work with some guys recently. When I say recently, like 3 months ago, we took an holistic view. We did like a small report on the personal care industry. We discovered that the personal care industry in Nigeria today is worth about 1 trillion naira. Are you guys with me?
Yeah.
But if you look at the major companies in personal care that you know, they will not be up to 400 billion naira. Why is the remaining 600 billion naira? They are still in Nigeria, but they are no name, no brand, which is what is going to happen in FMCG. So there is going to be a lot of opportunities in FMCG, but the FMCG companies that you know may not be making money, but the consumption and the demand will still be there. It is left for us to find it. So when people can no longer afford to eat in expensive joints, but they still want to eat, that is where you see someone who can offer a plate of food for 700 naira and make a profit of 100 naira selling out at top before 2 o'clock. Because those guys who used to eat where they can spend 2K on lunch are now trying to spend less than 1K on lunch. So if the guy selling his food at 2K for lunch is still thinking that people are no longer buying food, they are buying food. They are just not buying from you. If the bathing soap that cost 500 naira no longer sell, are people no longer bathing? No, people are bathing. They are not just doing that again. Probably they've seen one that can cost 150 naira that they're now using. And that one presents an opportunity. Today, you see people producing soap locally for local women at a quarter of the price that the FMCG with name sell it. And they are making a lot of money. I was opportune to be a panelist about 5 years ago in UWIN. I don't know if you guys know the UWIN program that Jonathan started then. So I was in Abuja for 7 days on that panel, and I see a lot of opportunity. You know that in the north, people make what's it called now? Seasoning, no name seasoning, and the lady is just looking for expansion. She sells out in 3 days. She sells out in 3 days. Everything she produces, she sells out in 3 days. As at the time she came for 10 million naira in UWIN, she already had outlet in 4 northern states, and she cannot even meet the demand. Meanwhile, Unilever is trying to find out why people are no longer buying Knorr. The other guys, is Unilever Knorr? Unilever is no, yes. Nestle is trying to find out why they are losing shares on Maggi. That people are still eating seasoning. The only thing is that people are done trading. So there's going to be a lot of done trading, or there is opportunity. So I will take financing, I will explain finance. Today, banks are looking at, okay, this is Corona period. Do I need to have all my 500 branches open? So definitely, I won't say definitely, most likely banks are going to be closing some branches. Already you have unbanked population in tens of millions. When banks close branches, that population of people who are banked but don't have banking facilities are going to increase. Some people are already thinking, what about if I can have agency banking license and I get guys to become part of that agency banking? So today, I have an uncle who is into agency banking. He already has 3 people. So he called me 2 days ago, I think 4 days ago, and started telling me that is our branch in what's the name of this place now? Lagos Ibadan, before Redeem. Is our branch there going to open? I said no, that I'm not sure, that I don't think so. He said that it's good though, that he's doubled his income in the last 1 month. And the reason why he's able to double his income is that people who will normally go to branch to withdraw their money will now have to use agency banking. So someone who needs extra income can look towards that direction and make a lot of money from agency banking. People are already looking at digital banking. Is a possibility. People in what's it called? People in IT. Logistics is going to boom, right? These days, people are trying to avoid contact. So I want to send something to someone in BI. So today is the time for you to have your own bike, get the license, start with 1 or 2 bikes, and start logistics. If you know the right people, if you know how to market it, people are going to be using this. Because in the last 1 week, I've had customers who have called me that they want to pick their shipping documents from a branch. The bank is saying that for today, we want customers to arrange for their own. Customers are also trying to cut costs. So if they don't want to do anybody on retainership and they know you, they can call you. So some of these are farming is going to be part of it. In fact, it's going to be the focus going forward. In the country, it's going to be one of the major focus, as well as manufacturing. So opportunities are going to exist despite the doom and gloom story, and people are going to take advantage of it. So just like I said, people who win a recession prepare for it at the time of peace. So the question now is that why are we writing how to prepare for recession when we are already in recession? Why not how to win a recession? No. In 2009, there was a recession. People complained. and said that they will do better during the next recession. The next recession came in 2014. They were not able to do what they promised to do. That is in 2020, and that recession has come. And if you look at it, which means that every 5 to 6 years, you cycle out from boom to recession. So the best time to start preparing for another recession is now. Because this recession is not going to announce to you when it will end. And the boom that will come will not announce its arrival. The recession that will follow this boom that will come will not also announce its arrival. So, and I think it's better for us to always prepare as if we are in recession, and we are in boom, and we're expecting recession. And what I've written here are not foolproof. They are just things I think from personal experience and opinion that I will recommend. Just like I said, it's not foolproof. It is not, but personally, I believe that irrespective of how much you earn, you must save. Depending on your salary, you can save 10 to 20% and let it be constant. Just assume that if you earn 50,000 naira, just assume that you earn 40,000 naira or 45,000 naira, depending on, and close your eyes to the remaining 10 to 20% and save it. There is a power in what we call compounding interest. There are products in every bank that they call target savings. I don't know what, I know every bank has it. They give you interest rate above 5% and give you a minimum balance, but you won't lose money. If you can put your money, which means that I put 5K there this month, that 5K gives me 100 naira interest, I put another 5K there. If you do this thing for 5 years, you will not believe what the results. It works like magic. Now, if you can do this, it's good. I also believe in putting some money in cash on your cash investments. What are the cash on your cash investments? Mutual fund is good. Treasury bill is good. FGN bonds, fixed deposit, and foreign currency deposit is good. I will come to foreign currency deposit soon. If you can put additional 10 to 20% of your income in other high-yielding investments, but with high risk, I don't think we are that old that we should avoid risk. We are not, so we can define the level of risk we want to take. We can put some money in low-risk investments like treasury bill, bonds, deposit, and everything. We can also look at some risky investment, but the good thing about high-risk investment is that the return, if they come, is worth it. What are the high-risk investments? Capital market is just shares. Real estate is okay. It can be high risk, but it can be worth it at the end of the day. Very right. And one thing we should also note when we prepare for this thing is that we should try and diversify as much as possible. Diversification makes your aggregate risk to be low. It means that if you diversify your portfolio, you cannot lose at the end of the day. Where you will offset one possible loss from one possible gain. It makes your aggregate portfolio, it de-risk your portfolio, right? Another way people prepare for recession is to have most of us are into salaries. We get paid for our skills, which is good. However, our skill will not always remain relevant. It is not given that our skills will remain relevant at every point in time. Just like we were discussing a few days ago, the required skills to move companies forward will change in the next 3 to 4 years. Actually, in the next 1 to 2 years. And not everybody will be able to upskill. So if your skill is everything that is making you money, what are you going to do when your skill is not able to make you money? So I think my opinion is that we should look for 2 or 3 other sources of income. We may not have to run those businesses, but if we have done our due diligence and we believe in people running this business, we can invest in people. We can invest in farming. There is people investing in investment, agri-based investment. People invest in logistic-based investment. And after, I mean, before you do that, please do your due diligence, talk to people and everything. But I think it's important we have multiple sources of income. This one is very personal to me, and I say it all the time. If you can afford it, and you don't need to be earning tons of money, you don't need to be earning 7-figure salary before you do this. Keep your money, keep a portion of your money in foreign currency. You will never lose if you bet against Naira. Nobody has ever lost betting against Naira. It has happened only once in my 14 years career that people lost betting against Naira, and it's just temporary. That was in Soludo era, and I think it's just temporary. And even that loss was reversed. So keeping your money in the foreign currency. So let's assume, right, that you start keeping your money, you start saving, let's say on the average, $3,000 every year from 2010. If you look at the aggregate exchange rate of your money as at today, you would have doubled your investments. And dollar hasn't stopped losing value. I mean, Naira will not stop losing value. Naira will still lose value. It has always happened. It will continue to happen because we know the reason why it is like that. And until that is fixed, then there is no end to it. So keeping your money in dollars is you will never lose anything. You can just keep it and say, this is my retirement benefits. When I retire, we change it. You are going to make minimum of 200% at the time you retire. So I always advise to this, it's a very safe investment, keeping your money in foreign currency. And for people who can afford it, I also advise you look for foreign currency generating investment or assets. If you can afford it, you can buy a house abroad and get the rent. Most especially if you have the intention of paying foreign currency bills. If you want to send your kids to school abroad, there is no amount of Naira you will earn now that can adequately prepare you to send your kids to a 4-year university, university for 4 years in US or UK. You can always be blindsided by devaluation. I've seen it happen over and over again. I have seen guys withdraw their kids from school. It's not a very easy conversation to have. So if at any point in time you know that you are going to have a foreign currency obligation, I think it's never too late to start getting foreign currency deposit or foreign currency interest repayment. And what are you can, apart from buying property, you can invest in Eurobond. If you invest in Eurobond, then the repayment is in foreign currency, which is, Eurobond is more, is guaranteed that you get your money back. Even if there is default, you will still get your money back. The timing may just be changed. Another thing that we advise is for those of us who are not in formal sector. If you are not in formal sector, I will advise that you join a micro pension fund and start a pension contribution. It's good. It is safe. I know quite a lot about pension. I worked in the industry for about a year before I joined banking. I keep myself up to date about the regulations. The contributed pension fund is safe. If you're in informal sector, you can join a micro pension fund, or even if you're in informal sector and you think that your pension, what your employer is remitting is not enough, you can also increase it by voluntary contribution. It is good. We don't know where we're going to retire and how we're going to retire. And one of the reasons why people that die after retirement is how do they live after retirement. But if you have a decent pension asset by the time you retire, it gives some confidence that at least you'll be able to take care of your basic needs by the time you retire. It's a safety net that I think everybody should enjoy. So by the time you are making the money in the informal sector, just call a pension fund and register for micro pension fund is also very good for you as a way of preparing for recession. And one of the reasons why I said it's good to prepare for recession is that I know people lose their job. And one of the things that they were able to bank on is that they're able to collect the 25% of their, pension fund. I think it's about 6 months when you don't have a job or something that you can collect that. So if you have a 15 million naira in pension and you lose your job and you're able to get about 4 million out of it, I mean, that one you can be able to plan something with it before another gig comes. So I think if you're an informal sector, I would strongly advise that you have a pension fund. Now, I will talk about risk versus return, because when people want to put their money, the thing is that, where do I put my money? What kind of investment? And investment can range from high risk to low risk. One thing about low risk investment is that the return of the capital invested is guaranteed. But the return on the capital invested can be quite small, but it is safe. One of the low risk is savings accounts, right? It's low risk. You'll be saving your money. When you need it, you collect it. Treasury bill is low risk. Government securities generally is low risk. But for the low risk, personally, I think before you start talking about the very low risk and you won't take risk at all, probably when you are looking at retirement, mid-50s and above, if you collect your gratuity, for people who are entitled to gratuity, I think your gratuity should be invested in low risk. Because at the time you are retiring and collecting gratuity, in most cases, you don't have any reason to take that kind of risk. Because that kind of risk can actually send the retirees to early grave. So at that time, low risk, treasury bills, bank deposits is low risk. Medium risk, for people of our age, probably for us until the next 10 years, we can do medium risk taking. Eurobond, I put Eurobond as medium because you need to understand the way it works. Most especially if you are buying it in secondary market, you need to understand the way it works. If you don't understand the way it works, you can make mistakes that can cost you money. There is a way bond is priced based on the yield at every point in time. We can take that one in another class. I think I have a fair knowledge of how bond pricing works. FDM bonds is medium risk. It's actually low risk, but what makes it medium is that FDM bonds is mostly long tenured. So you may not have access to your money until a long time, except you want to sell in secondary market. So FDM bond is actually more of low risk than medium risk. People buy shares, right? There are some shares that are very volatile. So let me explain this. Sorry, are you all following me?
Yes, so
there are some shares that are very volatile. Some of us, like I used to do, you don't actually need to do a lot of research on that company. You just target the price, sell low, buy low, and sell high. You are not holding for a long time. You are just holding for you to take the arbitrage opportunity. So it's risky because, I mean, I lost a lot of money when I was doing that with insurance companies about 7-8 years ago. However, there are companies that you can buy their shares and keep for long, right? Companies that I won't mention the name of companies. I don't want to promote any. Companies that have been there for a long time. They've been around for years, for a long time. They have a very good history of paying dividend, right? And you know that if you have shares in this company, they will always pay you dividend. You can check in the last 30 years. They probably missed dividend payments once. So that one is very okay. But medium risk is investment in volatile industry. In fact, this one is more of high risk. Then the supply contract is good, depending on if you can do the due diligence on the counterparty. That, I mean, I think medium risk is for government. I mean, the high risk is for government. Supply contract for government, that is high risk. because the probability that you will not get paid is quite high, right? So supply contracts for corporate is also good. If you have the opportunity, is a risk worth taking, 40s and 50s. But if you're in your 20s and 30s, the good thing here in this age is that you still have your life ahead of you. You can lose money, you can make it, you can hit jackpot, you can do capital market, you can do derivatives, you can do Bitcoin, you can do government contract. Here, the assumption here is that if you eat it big, you eat it big. If you lose money, you still have enough time to make it back. But it also depends on your risk appetite. And risk appetite is the amount of risk an individual is willing to take to achieve a given objective. So if your risk appetite is high, you can do high risk, high return. If it is low, you stick with your low risk. However, generally, I advise risk to be taken. I advise your age to be taken into consideration when you're taking risk. Just like I heard someone that collected, I think I was discussing with Tunde, and he mentioned someone that collected gratuity and lost everything. I mean, why are you taking high risk when you're already close to your 60s? Just collect your money and put it in very low risk investment and enjoy your life. Now, I think I've gone through all this. I will go through it again. The opportunities that we may take during recession, savings and compound interest, it works. It prepares us for another recession. Just like I said, we are entering one recession, but the next recession after this is just by the corner. We always say that, if I survive this recession, the next one, I'll be more prepared. But the experience has shown that we are always not prepared for another recession. So I will advise us to prepare for another recession during this recession. In fact, the way we cope with this recession, we test our ability to cope, because we are still going to experience another recession after this one in our 40s. We shouldn't, it's not about it will not happen in Jesus' name. It will happen.
God forbid, in Jesus' name.
It happens.
It's 17 hours.
Now, if you have the money, treasury bill is good, bonds is good, corporate bonds. I mentioned corporate bonds. So let me explain this corporate bond. Today, treasury bill is about 5% in Nigeria. Bonds is about maybe 8% or thereabout. But Dangote just, instead of taking money from banks at 12%, money from bank, Dangote just issued a corporate bond at 12%. A few months ago, flour mills did their own at about 15%. More corporates are going to be floating corporate bonds, and these are going to be much higher than the rate banks and even government can offer us. So if you have an opportunity to buy corporate bond this time around, when opportunity to buy corporate bonds, we should take advantage of it, because more corporates are going to be doing it. Banks are going to be issuing corporate bonds, even in Naira. Eurobond is an opportunity. And one thing Eurobond does for you is that it also allows you to have foreign currency investment and foreign currency earnings. And for people who understand bond, please, if you don't understand the way Eurobond is traded, don't try this. Personally, for me, this is the best time to buy Eurobond because of the yield. As at today, I was checking Nigerian Treasury bill, Eurobond yesterday. Bond that was about 7% at issue have yield of about 12% now. So let me quickly explain in a very simple manner. Let's assume that you have a $1 million investment in Eurobond and you bought it at issue, right, at 7%. What it means that government or the issuer is going to be paying you 7% interest rate quarterly or half yearly, depending on the way the bond is structured, right? 7% of $1 million is $70,000 every year. It can be paid annually, semi-annually, or quarterly. If you want to sell that bond to me today and the yield is 12%, it means that based on the current market rate, I'm supposed to be getting 120%, $120,000 on that bond, because that is where the market is. I'm going to adjust the price of that bond. I'm going to adjust for the 120. Because remember that what the issuer is going to pay will not change. It's still $70,000 every year. But I'm going to assume that If the bond is 2 years to maturity, I'm going to assume that I should get $120,000 to maturity every year. And the difference between what the government will pay and that what I'm supposed to get, I'm going to adjust for it in the principal of that bond. So I'm going to buy that bond at a discount. So it's a lot of money for people who understand. People wait for this period. So I have friends who wait for election period because during election period, the yield goes higher and the discount is much. So people buy at the discount when the older, because we Nigerians, we know that during election period, people will die, a winner will emerge, and governance will continue. Then things will come back to normal. Then people will sell and make money. Now, during this period, if you can find, now, most Nigerian stocks are very low in pricing. Actually, most companies are trading at below book value today. And I think for people who are core sector stock, who wants to hold for a long time, I mean, if you can hold for 1 to 2 years, you probably make about 150 to 200% on your stock if you can buy now. I mean, I've seen stock that used to be 30 naira on the average over a long period of time, selling for below 20 naira. That's the key for me. And these are companies that I know that even when I'm not able to sell, I will get dividend. Their dividend yield is about 17%, 15%. I will buy that stock for now. The only thing is that, is there a possibility of this company crashing? If I've done my analysis or I've consulted my expert, my stockbroker, and they've done it, and they say, oh, this company, we think we survive this recession, I will buy the shares and keep. When I cannot sell, I enjoy dividend. But when that boom comes, people have resigned, people have retired because of this thing, because they bought stock, waited it out, boom, they cash out and they made a lot of money, and so much money that there is no need for them to work again. So it's also a possibility. If you find such stock, I'm very sure that we have people among us who are into stockbroking, they can advise. If you have money that you can put to it, but don't put your money in stock. Probably maybe 20% of what you have now, you can put in stock, and it has to be carefully selected stock. I'm very sure that you can make a lot of money from it. Real estate too, it is expected in the coming period that people with stock of real estate will come under pressure. Actually, many of them are coming under pressure, and real estate may lose, maybe selling about 25% below market value. If you have money, you can take advantage of it and rent it out, make some money. When the market is right, you can sell it. You can never lose on that too, if you understand it. Precious metal is another thing. Just like real estate, people holding precious metal that are under financial stress may also want to sell it. The good thing about precious metal is that it doesn't also lose value, and the value is you can always sell when the market opens up. But unlike real estate, if you hold precious metal until the market is right, you cannot sell it. So I won't really advise it. But for women who wants to slay during recession and sell when the recession goes, is an option. Agro business to me is another good one. Today, if you can do the farming yourself, do it. If you cannot, invest in people that are doing that you trust. Please, trust is a key element. But agro business to me is going to have some form of boom in the current period, because this pandemic, countries that supply staple food will no longer be able to export the way they used to. Countries are going to become more self-reliant on their, most especially when it comes to their staple food. So if you have anybody in rice business, you can invest. If you can also do rice farming yourself, I don't think you're going to lose a lot of, I think you're going to make money on it. If you cannot do farming like me, you don't have time, you can do crowdfunding. There are a lot of structured guys who are looking for funding for farming, and they offer very good return on investment, and they are out there. You can also invest in them if you have done your due diligence. I've mentioned mobile money agents for banks is going to also be a very good thing. There are some places in Lagos. I'm not talking about Damaturu now. In Lagos, where you will trek for almost 2 kilometers to get ATM to withdraw money. If you are in mobile money in that place, you will make a lot of money. Actually, I won't even mention places that if you go from Yanapaja to Ota, all the ATMs there is like all the ATMs there are always on Saturdays are always flooded with people. So if you're a mobile money agent there, you will make a lot of money, charging people to save and withdraw money. Money lending is another thing. People are going to come under a lot of pressure. People are going to be living from salary to salary. If you are into money lending, it's a risky business, but if you understand it, it's a risk worth taking. You are going to make a lot of money on it. Also, the credit risk is also high. That may be default. But one good thing about people who do micro lending is that the rate people charge, if the default is not too high, you will still make money on the aggregate. And last but not the least, is the best time to start investing in yourself, to upskill. Skills requirements are going to change, and only the people who still remain relevant will take advantage of the gap. And I think I've come to the end and questions now. Thank you.
Questions?
I can barely hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear Tunde now.
Okay, you were talking about this money whatsoever. We've talked about it earlier on, but if you want to, you did not say something which is very, very important to me, which is critical. The risk involved. The last time we did this money transfer business people are doing right now.
Agency banking.
Agency banking.
Yep.
Yes, a lot of people are going to it, but it's very risky. I've seen my wife's colleagues and friends that have been killed lately because of that. But the last time we had a discussion, you actually pointed a very big point, which is very, very vital.
Okay, so on agency banking, right? That's why I said that for anybody who wants to do business, probably because my background is in risk management, if you want to do a business, the first thing is to look at the risk, you analyze the risk, and you try to mitigate as much as possible. So that what you have left is what we call the residual risk. And the residual risk will always be there. I mean, there is no business without the risk, without risk. So one of the risks in agency banking is the fear of people attacking you and collecting your money, armed robbery, right? Is there. And when I've advised a couple of people that went to the agency banking, and one of the things that we found out is that you have businesses this day, right, that are also struggling with cash handling. You have businesses that are struggling with cash handling. Today, you have businesses that they cannot deposit all the cash they have same day because the banks are going to penalize them. They are going to suffer this, what do we call it now? The cash deposit penalty. And your own job is agency banking. Agency banking is that you are an agent to a bank. You act like an ATM. So I would rather look for those people, and I will make sure that people who those guys trust are able to introduce me. So what we did for some guys is to introduce them to some filling stations. Filling stations by default will have a lot of cash. So what they need to do is to stay in that filling station. It provides them two things. That is a bit of safety. I mean, it is an organized crime that we go and rob a filling station that is in open location, right? And you also don't need to hold a lot of cash. All you need to do is to arrange with the filling station. Anytime you need cash, you collect from the cash they have and you transfer to them, which pays them because it's really the cash they are holding. And you can do your business. And not only filling stations, there are big distributors in Lagos that also struggle with cash. All you need to do is to find who do these people trust, because they need to be able to trust you. Once they trust you, you can have a symbiotic relationship between both of you, and you take their pains, you take up their pains, and they also help you with your pains, and you make money. But you just don't go to a business because others are going to it. First, you need to understand the risk, you analyze the risk, you mitigate the risk, and the residual risk is what you live with.
Thank you very much. I think it's very, very important what you just highlighted. People might want to go into that, and then if they didn't understand that part, it's a little bit risky.
Yeah, it's risky. And there is another thing that people are doing now, most especially in places in rural areas. I've had 2 success stories from it. So people go to markets, right? Because to make money in Nigeria, you need to understand the structure of Nigeria. There are traders in local markets who don't have working capital. These guys, all they need as working capital is just 10,000 naira in a day, and they are okay, but they don't have it. What these guys did was to go to those markets through the association, the Ayodeji, and they did a guinea pig, I mean, what they call it, and they tested it with, I think they started with 20 or 30. Give us 30 people that you trust. The Ayodeji gave it to them. And they gave these guys, if we give you 10,000 naira a day to trade, how much can you give us? I think they agreed on 300 naira or so. So every day they give 10,000 naira and they collect 300 naira. In a month, they've already made their capital. And this woman continued to pay 300 naira. It got to a time that they even started doing debt forgiveness for those women. Someone that they have collected 300 naira for 3 months. Abba, you've made your money, you've made profit. Now, these things may sound theoretical, but the reality is that people are doing it and are making a lot of money from it. To do that, you don't need to be in Lagos, because in Lagos, probably, maybe there may not be many of those markets. But if you go to places like Ilesha, Ikirun, Ede, in the east, there are many people like that there. That's all they need. What they need to buy, they want to buy vegetable to sell, so they buy okra to sell. They need 10,000 naira, and you collect 300 naira, and it doesn't. And you have helped them because they have the money. They can pay their supplier. They make 1,000 naira. They give you 300 naira. They are okay with 700 naira. They come back the following day. They do it, and they don't default. People who understand this business, these women don't default, because once they default, the leader of the association knows that they are hampering the chances of other people who might benefit. At least I've had success story in Kogi and one somewhere in Nasarawa, or people doing it. People that I know, they didn't tell me, I know these people. I actually gave this guy, one of them, some money to start, because he lost his job. He was a contract staff in a bank, lost his job and started it. And today, I don't think this guy can come back to the formal sector with 250K. He's making much more than that. So there is a whole lot of opportunities if we look very well, and we are not ashamed of our hustle. And one thing I tell people is that don't be ashamed of your hustle. If an opportunity comes and the first thing you think is about your ego, then you can't do it. Forget about your ego. The first thing that gives you ego is the ability to feed yourself and your family. Other things is secondary. Any question?
I have a question, Fuki.
Okay.
So my question is, I noticed you didn't mention entrepreneurship in the presentation.
I don't mention what?
Entrepreneurship, like where does that fall? Entrepreneurship, like people that want to set up their own businesses.
Oh, yeah, I've mentioned it. Maybe I didn't mention it in a way you would have wanted me to mention it. Or entrepreneurship can be, so if you are a mobile money agent, you are an entrepreneur. So let me give you an example. I know a mobile money agent that has close to 100 people working for him in different locations. He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you're right. I get you. Yeah.
You can be an entrepreneur in the food sector. And how can you be an entrepreneur in the food sector? I can, if I go to VI today and I know places where there are offices, and I've done my due diligence, and I've seen that the cheapest food you can get around that area is about 2,000 naira or 1.5. And I know that because what most people don't understand is that once you mention that there is a bank close to you, they assume that everybody earns decent salary. No, there are people that earn less than 100,000 naira and they work in the bank, the contract staff, and they also need to eat. So what do I do? And people are doing it today. And you can look for a place to actually deliver food at, because one thing about this thing is that if I don't carry the same overhead as you, right, I can do business at lower cost and make more money than you. The only thing is that I won't make more profit per unit, but I will do volume. So
sorry, a follow-up question to that is that, so considering that we are all above 40, and you mentioned, and I know that entrepreneurship is actually high risk, would you think we should still consider it at this point?
So let me, my point about entrepreneurship, because this thing people have said you talk about business and you don't do it. And one thing I've come to realize over time is that not everybody will become entrepreneurs. Not everybody will be able to set up a successful business and make it work. Not everybody.
True.
However, if I don't have the opportunity, if I don't have that kind of opportunity, if I don't have that kind of personality to do that, but I trust a Yinka that can do that, and Yinka is my friend. I can invest in you if I trust you, and we agree. So we can be partners. I can invest in you, but I need one to trust you, and I need to believe in your business model. For me, if I even want to invest in your business, we will get tired because the documentation we will do before it and everything, the analysis, and that's the problem with people like me, is so much analysis. People that succeed in business really don't do much of they don't do so many analysis. Probably that's where people like me will probably fail in business. Too much analysis will kill the business. Even before the business starts, I would have overanalyzed it. But that's my point about entrepreneur. If you go back to the slide, in the farming sector, in the food, and when we talk about farming, you don't need to be the farmer in the typical way. You can be a processor. There are people today who buy farm produce and process it as a raw material input, which serve as a backward integration for companies. They will make money. So today, people were not into palm crude 10 years ago. What we call crude CPO, crude palm oil. Do you know why people started planting palm oil around? Because government has said that not giving effect to import crude palm oil again. What happened after that? PZ went into partnership with Wema in Calabar. They planted about maybe 70,000 acres of land. The people producing Indomie noodles, Dufil, they've gone to another place in Benin. They've planted an additional 100,000 acres of land. And people thought, oh, okay, there's a lot of money to be made in this thing. Everybody started planting. So today you see so many people of our age who already, but one thing about this palm is that the gestation period is long. You have to wait it out for about 5 or 7 years before you start earning about it. But you can now make money from it for the next 30 years. So there is a lot of entrepreneurship opportunity in the sector that I've mentioned. There is a lot. Either in the real farming, in the processing of it. So many things you can do with all those sectors. FMCG, you can also do so many things that become entrepreneurs. But those sectors are are the places where I see growth during recession.
Thank you, Buki. Just to add to your point, there's a company called Farm Crowdy where you can actually also invest, and their own products are really short term, 3 to 6 months. You're out, in and out. So for people that may be interested,
I think I've heard about them too, and a couple of them.
Bayo, I thought Bayo was saying something. Can you just talk more about that? Can you just do more brief talking about that? Because right now, UB is not paying again. So
Okay, I sent it in the chat. It's called Farm Crowdy. It's one of those companies, but I know it's a good one that I just follow the activities. I didn't invest in them. So,
I've
but what
actually
you do?
seen them, but
Sorry?
how reliable are they? How reliable are they?
Well, when you talk about reliability, I'm sure they've been around for maybe 3 years, maybe no more than that. They are young guys, but at least because they're going to pay you back within 6 months, and I've not heard of any stag tails. But of course, the interest or whatever they pay, the value is actually low. From some of the feedbacks I got, but at least I believe it's reliable. I believe people are getting paid.
So
I've not tried it myself.
Let me share my thoughts about when I decide whether to invest in a venture or not. If I want to invest in any business, it has to make sense. It has to make sense. Make sense means that I have to know where you make money, how you make money, the kind of returns you make. The returns you make, can it sustainably pay me based on what you want to pay me? So the first time I heard about this Ponzi scheme, MMM, I know that it's a Ponzi scheme. So it has to make sense. It has to be logical. So you can't tell me that you want to pay me 20% per annum on my investment, and I look at your business, I don't see where the 20% is coming from. It's definitely a Ponzi, as far as I'm concerned, because you need to make the money to pay me. Otherwise, it's a Ponzi. If you don't make the money that you want to pay me, it's a Ponzi. It means that you are going to be paying me from the money you are collecting from other guys. And one day, the music will stop.
Sorry, if I could shed more light on that. This is not a Ponzi scheme.
I'm not calling it a Ponzi.
Oh,
I'm not calling it a Ponzi. I'm just
but you know the location of the farm that you are investing in. You know where it is.
So once you can be sure that you understand the business, you know how they are making. Because if it is genuine, they will tell you how they are making business. They will take you through the process. And similar opportunity also is available in logistics. So today I know. I'm sure Kunle will know more about this, about all these breweries and bottling companies try to revamp their distribution network.
Bookie or Friso. Revive it now. What's the
network issue?
Man, I very revive.
CPR.
So the bandwidth frees up.
It's just a bad idea. CPR. 100 beats. F with the air. NSC, kí ló dé tẹ́ máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ gógóró nínú forum?
Ayodeji, are you still going to go through your own slides as well?
Ṣé o ti padà dé?
Ayodeji Ayeni, can you hear me? You are muted, boy. Ayodeji, you are muted.
Oh, mo miss presentation Ayo.
No, he hasn't done a presentation yet.
Oh, okay.
Ayo, on mute phone. Send the chat.
Yeah, hello.
We can hear you now.
Yeah. Actually, a guy that said it all. But basically, for all of us in our party, most of the things that we need to do is to practice saving. Because, like you said, with me, most of the things that we need to do is to practice saving. No matter how much you are earning, no matter how low or high it is, saving is a culture that we need to cultivate. If you can save, you actually save for the winning day. Recession is something that's always around us, whether in the next 3 years or 4 years. It's not a cause. It's coming to us again. But how prepared are you for the coming recession? And most of the things that he said too, they are also good for you and I, because in the world we have today, we need to say we are all 40. Are you with me?
Yes,
We are in
very
our
true.
40s.
Yes.
We are in our 40s, and in the next 15 years, most of us will not be in the office or whatever you call it again. And while we are
No,
doing,
I'm not 40. Oh. I'm still 16. I don't know what
how
you're
old are
talking
you?
about.
You can deceive others, but you cannot deceive all of
Nǹkan
us.
máa tọrọ ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀.
You can't deceive us.
Because
You can
most of
deceive
us
them.
we are very, very young.
Ever
We
16.
Only
we
Depends
look
on
so
40.
young.
àti mọ̀ wá láti
Yeah, we look
kindergarten láti wọra.
we know ourselves now, so that's the thing.
No, you don't know. Some people age backwards. You've never heard about that story.
That's Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just say this one. We also need to invest in some other sorts of income. Like he mentioned, many of us cannot take the risk of going to business. We can't take the risk of going to business because we don't have the time and we don't have the resources. But we can invest in people that are actually great business if you can only trust them to a definite extent. Like he mentioned, risk and return goes invariably. You can't separate them from each other. Are you with me, please?
Yes, but
yeah, we can. Okay, but what?
the concern that I have is that, okay, we are, well, for example, I'm in Illinois now, and we want to maybe try to invest in Nigeria.
Okay.
My concern is trust. Like, how can you trust people back home? Like, okay, you want to put this in business. And even if you try to buy stock or whatever, this person is asking you to bring NEPA bill to show that you have residents there. I don't, and I can't be using my parents or my other family members' stuff. So I'm wondering, how did you get over that hump?
Well, you can get over that. One of the things that you can, before you can actually say you want to invest in people, first of all, invest in yourself. Because if you invest in other person or other people's business, that you need to go through many things like risk. But then you are talking at the risk element. If the business if the business is not viable, like he mentioned earlier, it's going to pay you from other people's money. But I will mention to you that there are so many, you can actually have a top-breaking account without using your Nigerian address. You can use it wherever you are. So many people abroad here are opening a top-breaking account and they actually trading for themselves here. Are you getting my point now? Hello?
Yeah, for me,
Yeah,
I've already invested. So I've invested in myself, but sometimes you want to have another source of income, and you don't have enough time to start another organization or start another business.
You've mentioned it earlier. You mentioned investing in the company and investing in capital market. And I'm telling you that you may not actually need your parent ID, your cousin or whatever address. You can actually use the one you have in your place of residence as a document, and then from there, you take it up from there.
Okay, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you privately.
Ma?
I will talk to you privately, sir.
Okay, no problem. Any other question?
See you in camera. Before we take the next question, please, I'm going to launch the poll. That's losing on BG. We're 25 before. So before people start dropping off, please let me launch the poll so that people can quickly respond to it. It's a little, just a little bit different, just a little different from the last one. Okay, please continue with your question.
I also have a question. So my question is actually in line with Yinka's question. So Ayo, I know recently what I've done is actually use of stockbroker, which I didn't want to do. Because I wanted to undo my business myself. But with all the stuff they were asking and my stocks were actually in my maiden name, which made it a little bit difficult. And usually the processes, because I also work in that industry, simple letter would have, fixed the fact that, if Moyo, sorry, it's the same if you're like you, but it was difficult. So I had to use a stockbroker. Now, my question is, if you want to do it yourself, kind of have a portal or a brokerage account where you can self-manage it rather than a service account, how do you get that?
If I talk to Ayo, Ayo is really good. Talk to Ayo.
Yeah.
Why do you
No, because he helped me out. I had the same issue and he helped me out.
Are you serious?
Don't worry, let him help all of us
Ayo,
out.
talk to Ayo. And if there's any additional...
I actually, I and Ife have spoken on this matter before, and I've told her what she needed to do, but she didn't get back to me on that. Ife, can you remember?
Ayo, man, being I was busy.
Ayo.
Ma.
My question is not about just rectifying the accounts, because I've actually used a broker to do that. My question is, like on this side, you can have a self-directed brokerage account. How do you get that in Nigeria?
Come again.
How do you get a self-directed brokerage account?
Because,
I'm not just talking about
we
buying
have that in the United States. We do self-directed brokerage account,
trading and all that.
I didn't hear her clearly, please.
Okay, I give up.
No, she's talking about having self-directed, like self-managed brokerage accounts. We have that here without using a third party to do that.
She can do it by herself.
Oh, that's what she wants to know.
Fine. Now, for instance, I think we have people in this platform that understand how it works, but let me explain to you. You can open an account by yourself, and you open that. By the time you open an account with a top broking account, when the account is open, you will be given an asset, you're able to create, you fund the company account online, and from there, you need to keep by yourself.
Sorry.
Hello?
So sorry.
What's the name of that platform?
Well, I don't want to give them the one that I'm using, but there are a lot of them around. So just ask them. I don't want to give any of them, but there are a lot of them around you can choose from. And from there, you can manage it by yourself. No third parties involved. Everything is directly with you. You can buy.
This is an account you can open online.
But Ayodeji, I think this is an opportunity for you to sell your company.
Okay, it's an opportunity. Okay,
it's an opportunity for you to sell.
Anyway.
I patronize Ayodeji's company, and I've been doing that for the past 7 years. I'm into stock trade, and I do the trade myself from the comfort of my office or privately at home, on the phone, whatever. And the beauty of Ayodeji's company, which is Morgan Capital, is that the brokerage fee is the lowest that we have in the industry, and then the lowest that you have in the industry. And then their platform is the most stable when you are talking of stock trading in Nigeria. So,
who is talking? I don't know who is talking.
Aki, volume, please. Volume, we can't hear you.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry about that.
Maki.
But I think I'm using bedroom boy.
Aki made a see your face. Show your face.
So if
Aki, you always hide your camera. Why?
Me?
So if I've just typed the website, so you can just go there and visit the website and check it out.
Yeah.
And then if you have any issue, just buzz Ayodeji will be on hand to assist you in whatever way. But the beauty of one thing I want to say about this topic is, we are 40 years and then above, and then the older you go in investment decisions, the less risk you should take. And what I normally advise people is, whenever you want to go into any business, you should go into a business where you have control of your capital. You can move your capital anyhow. When people tell you, okay, we want to manage your business for you and pay you a certain percentage as maybe a profit after a particular point in time, you need to be wary of such, because more often than not, we discover that there is always default along the line. Maybe just 10% of those companies that promise such returns actually deliver at the end of the day. So whatever business you want to go into, ensure that you are in control of your capital, and then you can pull out at will, and then you can invest at will as you want. So that's my advice on this particular.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you very much. Ife?
Yes.
I hope you answered your question, right?
Sort of. I'll go on the platform and see what's on there.
Okay.
Oged and Ayo and the rest of the team, please, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so from the presentation, and by the way, well done, guys. That was a very good one. The content is very robust. But I know that every time we have conversations like this, we always talk about people investing or taking economic advantages of certain things, or a couple of lines. The challenge I think we have at times is how to actually raise the capital to invest. So a lot of people, and I've heard about a saying that the best ideas are in the graveyard. And a lot of people sit with so much of ideas, but the economic will to actually, spin these things around at times will not be there because they don't have the capital. And I know from Buki's presentation that he mentioned certain investment opportunities that requires very little capital. The candid truth is that majority of us on this platform may not be able to, actually pursue some of those investment initiatives. But give it as it may be, how do we raise money to be able to invest? What are the things that you guys feel might work for the majority of people that might want to embark on investment opportunities? Let us assume that as we speak now, we have zero balance in our bank account.
How can you invest with zero balance? If you have zero, then you have zero return.
Thank you very much, madam. Actually, what is important for all of us is that we must have a very good saving habit. Even though you want to invest, you must have something to invest. Investment can come from your savings. Like he said, that 10% or 20% of your monthly income can go into savings. You can leave it in your bank account, or you can use it in treasury bill or buy anything. So that when you want to invest, you can go there and take the capital and invest it. But what matters most for all of us on this platform is that we must have a saving culture. That is number one. No matter how much you have, just try and save something. And when you save something, it can actually save you from the rainy day. There are too many of them, like in some group now. Some are doing ajo. I don't know what they call ajo in English. If every
Contribution.
Thrift. It's called
contribution.
No, the contribution is general language now. So exactly now. So exactly, because people can raise capital from a job, but then they contribute some money together on monthly basis and some other things. When you take it and go and start a business, and that one can actually help you. But before that can happen, why not contribute a saving habit? Even though with zero balance in your account, I doubt it. It's only God that can help you. Nobody can give you any because people have to assess your credibility before they can say, oh, we want to give you money to start a business. So start by saving, no matter how much, save something toward the winning day. And from what you save, you can invest it for the future. You can also look for like-minded people. If you have up to 7, okay, agree with your guys, set them to the 10K on monthly basis, and after then, your own time will come, and from there you can start a business from that place.
Yeah, that will require a lot of trust too.
Well, no, you have to look for
people burn me in the past, though. I'm telling you, I lost millions. So, yeah.
That is why start with yourself first. Start with yourself by doing treasury bill by doing saving bond, maybe every year saving bond.
Okay, he's back.
The return is very, very small, but at least it can actually make a lot of difference for you. Okay, where did you go now without telling us?
Okay,
I didn't go.
Ayo, can I make a contribution on that note?
Okay.
Yeah, I like the points you made around trips. And it's actually one of the things I wanted to drive at when I asked that question, which was deliberate. So a lot of the time, people don't have the capital to start a business. For capital, every time we hear capital, our mind quickly runs to cash. But beyond cash as capital, or beyond monetary capital, there are other forms of capital that we might need. One of such is relationship. And businesses of nowadays tend to thrive on more on collaboration other than competition. So, like to the point you made around trip, imagine 5 people are doing that monthly contribution and you don't have cash, but you sign up to it. If you are the one that collects in month 1 and then you put that money into you might be able to make your own contribution in the second, third, and the fourth one, and thereby end up paying people that have, contributed money with which you were able to raise the capital. I just want to highlight the point that in some of the cases where either we don't have the capital at all or we don't have sufficient capital, it might be good to explore the opportunities in collaborating or partnership with some other people who have those capital elements that we lack. That's just the point I want to make.
Okay. So, okay, how do you identify these people?
But Olayinka said that trust.
Yeah.
So I think for me, when we talk about trust, personally, I have a motto: in God I trust. Every other person must provide data.
I risk Niyo.
Yeah. So
I risk.
I think trust is a very subjective thing. I see no reason why I should actually trust somebody until that person has proven to me.
Twice shy.
Until that person has proven to me that it's not
I think we can trust ourselves on this platform. We can trust ourselves.
Don't let us deceive ourselves. I have joined one form of a business like that. What actually enticed me is the fact that they are from Malaysia. And then I actually don't mix up with people. So I don't want to lose that Elisha stuff. I was wounded.
Today Elisha and Temi not to share. So thank you for telling the truth.
That everybody here sometimes when it comes to money, we have to standardize things. We have to follow the right process, protocols, put the right documentations in place, involve lawyers, or else at the end of the but that's Tayo, he had to talk with me because he was in that platform. He said, Tunde, let's just leave them. That was what he said. People that didn't contribute at the end of the day, when they were the one that said we should dismantle everything and they want everything to be shared equally. So what do I do?
Tunde, let me bring this home a little bit. And I'm saying this because I've also had very pertinent, perhaps more pertinent experience than what you have just shared. But why I'm saying that is I've done business with somebody in our set on trust that worked out well. Yeah. And I've also done business with somebody in our set that defrauded me. All right. So my point is that it's neither here nor there. Trust is an issue. Personally, trust is an issue. And like I said, before you can go into business arrangement with anybody, whether the person is well known or not, there must be certain threshold or gateways to be able to check the integrity of the person and the credibility of the person you're trying to do business with. But having said that, every business venture is a risk. Every business venture, but the level or the extent of the risk will vary. And then if we close up our mind to the risk, which in some cases might also include trust elements, we might not be able to venture into some of those medium high risk things they were talking about. But it's okay. What Buki had recommended to us, the bonds, the deposits, etc., you don't need to. I mean, it's easy to go into that. But in terms of entrepreneurship, because there's the human interface of it, chances are that you will always have to take a bet against some odds that involves humans, and that is where one needs to now make a call as to whether you want to trust that some people will come right to the party or not. But my point is just that as individuals, we should also take that. We should be open to collaborating with some other people in times when we want to venture into business investment.
Okay,
Because you probably will not have all the resources.
Okay. I want to say this. You know, the risks that we'll take like 10 years ago is different from what we're willing to take now. For example, we have growing children, more responsibility. You know, very soon my first daughter is driving. She'll be driving a car. I have to pay her insurance. I have to take care of other stuff too. So extra money that was being put away before as a shock absorber is being used now on the kids. So the more responsibility we have as we grow older, the less risk we want to take in business. So like when I was 19, I started buying shares and trading and doing all sort of stuff. In fact, I had my first £1,000,000 when I was 19, really. So, but right now, if you tell me that, okay, or you want to trade in stocks, I don't think I would do much of that. I would rather go for something that will yield return with less risk because I have more responsibilities. If I lose money like I did a few years ago, right now, that is going to impact me and my family more. So we need to think about that. That's the reason why I know what you're saying about taking risk in business. Sometimes it play out of luck. So people believe that. Sometimes it's based on who you're dealing with. It's hard to know what is in the heart of the other person. Even somebody you've known for years, you don't know when they will bail on you at any time. So that's just like gambling to me. So I'm just trying to let you understand that right now, well, all of you were talking about our age, which I really don't like. Well, for now, I think all of us, if you agree with me, I'm speaking the mind of many people on this forum that we don't want to take such risks, really.
Sorry, what risk? Sorry, what risk?
You can do it by yourself without taking that risk.
Let me say something.
That's why I'm asking you to guide me correctly because I don't want to take any other risk like before.
What kind of risk? What kind of risk are you talking about?
Oh, the quite risky.
Okay, let me quickly say something. I think I can.
I just came back.
I can deduce what.
If I understand me,
I think I can deduce what Yinka is saying, and I think I can kind of clarify it for most people. I'll try my best. So there's a difference between trust and due diligence. When they talk about the higher the risk, the higher the returns on investment. They're not talking about you giving me your money to manage. They're talking about how aggressive are you willing to go with your money. The more aggressive you're willing to go, the more likely you will make money. And the more likely you can lose all your investments. That's like aggressive. You go and your investment manager or wealth manager tells you what's the level of risk you're willing to take, and you tell them, I want to be speculative, I want to go more aggressive. And the next question they're most likely going to ask you is, if your investments start losing money, what are you likely to do? Are you likely to withdraw all your money, or are you likely to still stick your neck out there and say, keep going until we get to the end of this road? That is what they're talking about when they say the more risk you take, the more returns you're likely to get. That's independent of trust. Now the trust you guys are talking about is, okay, we collaborating and I'm going to use a term here that doesn't really apply to what we're talking about. It's called something like fund manager, hedge fund, where you give your money to somebody to manage it, to bring returns to you. Right. So due diligence will be you giving your money to somebody that has a track record for managing funds and giving you returns for your money. Due diligence is you kind of asking this person to give you data to prove how they're going to turn your investments around. That is not trust. That is due diligence. Now, when you talk about trust, it's me calling you Yinka wo, ile kan wa nleki, ja lora in 5 minutes, matter for times 10 the funds. You give me the money. You did not ask me, Ife, what is the name on the title? What is the You did not ask me. You just know this is Ife. If Ife tells me this, then I can trust that. These are 3 different things. You get it? So trust is one-on-one, right? Due diligence is asking for track record of the person you're giving money to, right?
Well,
and risk is just how much risk, how aggressive are you willing to go on an investment?
I will tell you. I will tell you this. Okay,
mix all these things up.
I will tell you this. I invested in medical IT in Nigeria. In fact, we got very good proposal that we won. We work with the military to develop their medical IT. So when I was on grant, this business was doing very well. I have this partner that I took with me that I knew from childhood. We were doing very well. In fact, we established our organization in Abuja. Immediately I traveled and settled here. He deviated and started doing stuff on its own. So I don't know what's going on with my vision and all the money that we put in there. Do you know what I finally did? I just sold him half of my own entitlement and forgot about it. So sometimes you do all the checking, you want to do the vetting, people look so good and they're okay, they come to you like a cat. But immediately you leave, they turn to a big giant lion and they start evading you and playing you. So
that's
that was the looking at checking background of people, doing all this stuff. Of course, that's the nitty-gritty. You have to do that, except you don't have any brain at all. So even after doing that, how can you make sure that, okay, this integrity will still be what that person is doing? You know, you have to think about it. I'm talking from experience here.
So let me explain. Inka, Ife.
So can I say this? I want to ask you questions.
Oh yeah.
If you go into business with people, right, and you don't want them to deviate from your. So, do you guys have lawyers?
Yes.
What is in your object in your memos?
You know, those details, I will discuss that with you.
Because if you have the right protection based on the legal document, you can actually guy, right?
There was.
Yinka, this is from what you've just analyzed, right?
This is actually, you know, it's like medical informatics. It's a product that you develop.
That's
so
good.
Also getting these products in both our names, we developed that together. We were in business thing, we were making money, but I wasn't on grant. That was the problem.
Inka, that can happen.
You know what? Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Inka, that can happen, and it happens. It's normal. I'm sorry to say it is normal, and there'll be lots of businesses in Nigeria that will be like that. But I think if we go back a little bit to Kunle's question, Kunle is like the investment in our own relationship as a group. You test some and see, and it's not just going to start in a day. We know each other. We know one another. I know people I can never do business with.
I just reconnected with you guys, so sorry. I just reconnected with everybody, so I can't say I know you.
Exactly.
Like that.
So you are not confident enough to trust and build business, and that is okay. It's acceptable, but it's a currency that we should not ignore in business. Relationship is a currency that we cannot ignore. You will win some. Some people are lucky with it. Some people are not. Some people have been burnt millions, billions of naira, and they've lost their money. But it's a relationship that you need to build so that all this risk management, all this investment, all this will work.
So I do get it. I know millions have been invested. I know I have experienced what you've experienced. So I know what you're saying. And I know Ife too would have experienced something like that because Ife does business in Nigeria. But we all have different experiences.
I have not.
So Ife okay. So I assumed that Ife had done it. I assumed Ife had done it based on what she was saying because she's talking as if she's had the experience. That's why she's talking the way she was talking. So, and now she's come out that she has not done it. So she doesn't have that experience. So she may not understand what you're saying.
No, I totally understand what you guys are saying. And I'm giving you, I'm trying to tell you, these are risks that can be easily mitigated. These aren't risks you should, I don't know.
That's the
trust
right
is a
way.
gift. I tell people that. Trust is a gift. But trust does not take the place of due diligence. Before you do any business, before you make any investments, do your due diligence. If you need to involve legal, if you need to involve lawyers, if you need to do a copyright, whatever you got to do it. Protect yourself, protect your investments, protect your intellectual property. Because at the end of the day, it's not even only the money. Sometimes, this is a business you don't know, what you invest.
You don't know much about.
I don't
okay.
Sorry, one suggestion I have.
I have a question.
Okay.
I don't think trust.
Who is moderating this thing now?
I resolved this actually with my lawyer. Guys, I resolved this with my lawyer. I just sold the business to this partner.
Okay.
I sold in my side of business, so I took care of my stuff. I'm just telling you that from my experience, these sorts of things do happen, especially when you're not on ground. Period.
Yeah, that's your experience. And we cannot take that away from you.
No.
Before we, moderator speaking. Everybody, please back. Okay, so I wanted us to talk about the polls quickly, especially the number 3 question. By long distance, mental health is the topic that people picked.
Yay!
Of interest. So I wanted
Let's do it.
Notice of the administrators, of the admin, so that maybe that will guide next discussion. Mental health, still on business and investment. We talked about that today, but I guess people are still interested. We all need to make money. And then the third one is real estate in Nigeria. So I'll stop sharing now. Over to you guys.
Sorry, I wanted to add something to what Inka are concerned. That something that we may work on is because of those risks, is if we can find contacts in established institutions. What do I mean? For example, Buki mentioned agency banking. And as he was speaking about it, I realized that I have a good contact in Polaris Bank, and they are into agency banking. So if, for example, you are a part of that scheme, you already have a Polaris Bank as a backbone. So even if you are setting up different outlets of agency banking outlets and all that, you already have an established institution as a form of trustworthy party that you're working with. So that can give you a little bit of transparency, and it can lower the risk of people bailing out for you or backstabbing or things like that. So that's my own suggestion to that. For example, people that are working, maybe I won't mention it, but some people work in very good companies that maybe can have inside information as to how things run. So if they can make those kind of information available, maybe being a distributor in those kind of companies can help people. So as far as I'm concerned, it's more secure than just floating companies that are really don't have those kind of backbone. Then there is this app we are using. There is somewhere we can actually raise up our hands to stop, because I realize that it's a very big, crowd that we have today, and people are just. So maybe we can use that next time to raise our hands before we talk, if need be. If not,
that go up. We don't try anymore.
Oh, okay. So that's okay. It wasn't bad. It was a good session anyway.
This is GSS
one. It's just that the moderator is too distracted. When people raise up their hands, get a paper, write out that which they raise their hand and be answering them. Kini o le work.
And again, it doesn't have to be
Why
conformal.
are
Anyway,
you
we can
hiding?
still
Even? Why are you hiding
freestyle.
and talking?
Oh, sorry, I've not had my shower. I've not put my makeup and all that.
No
I need to
wonder.
make up and all that before I can.
Makeup, okay.
Yes.
After
Yes.
You have not done your makeup.
No, I've not.
You have not done your makeup. You have not had your
No,
shower.
sir. No, sir.
You are not a serious somebody.
How do you know?
Please, another thing that we didn't talk about, we talked about investment a lot. I think that I wanted to mention, it's not a big money maker, but it's something, and it's called with the new age. It's basically what we are doing now. I think that if you go to udemy.com, you would see people teaching gardening, and you would see, 10,000 buys. You would see people teaching sometimes very vague topics. So I think like when Bumi was going through the slides last week, and she was going through child psychology and development, that's good content. If she gets the right slides, good content creator to make that into an actual course, I bet you she can. Like Buki told us that he had to attend a training at his children's school. I think schools can buy it, churches can buy it. I don't know, somebody. So what he just gave us today, what the doctors gave us 2 weeks ago too. That's like, if you say health challenges in the 40s, I know a number of 40-year-olds who will want to know what the doctors were talking about for, I don't know, $5, $10. So let's not. I was in a class this morning. It was a 20-year-old girl in Lagos that facilitated the class. She was teaching social media content creation. We all paid 3,000 naira to attend. And I was like, okay, let me just pick this knowledge. So when I entered the class, we were like 20 of us in the class. So I have a number. I have a number. So let's not forget that as well, because everybody here is an expert on something. I think it's just converting that knowledge into income might be what is needed. And Buki, if you need a number, I can send it to you. Just don't like Nick here.
Kilo need the number ọmọlọmọ fún.
Auntie Yinka.
Over the week, I created a channel because I used to stream this program on my YouTube channel. But over the week, I created a channel for our official email address. So next time you can set has
a channel. Oh, thank you.
And I have named the videos. If you look at today's zone, for instance.
So you saved some money in the bank, but you got
you need to get a good job. Oh, there's news coming. Let me quickly. The company can actually be first class. This one. Sorry, I'm sharing. Okay. Sorry, share the YouTube page. Yeah, exactly. So what I've done is to name them according to the titles that we dealt with and the people who handle them. The good thing about this thing is that it's going to be there for a long time. You're going to have strange people going there that we don't even know who are going to be benefiting from all these lessons. So all the previous lectures are on this channel, on the Lisa 95 set channel, the health challenges channel, all the videos, how to raise, and the names of the facilitators are there. So you follow up if you need to watch the videos.
So we need to moderate it at the end of the session. All those are our gist.
Cut them out, Abi, from the actual.
Because
why do we have to cut them out? Is this not our session?
Exactly.
I know it's our session. You know, we do make some comments. Hey, if I'm running for election, and they're seeing all those gists.
Yes, let them come and say, why did I talk about something 10 years ago?
Let them come out. Let them come out.
Please, let's moderate.
Shame of his time, Teresa Sorini.
Well, the
Why?
thing is
Why? Let them come and ask me why I have to
Free
feel at home in my natural habitat.
speech.